Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 26th of September 2022. This morning, quite early this morning, Lorraine and I both went to the dentist for our annual checkups, and the first good bit of news is we both had a clean bill of dental health. We're blessed that we've got very good teeth. I know mine don't exactly look pretty, but I've never actually had a filling in my entire life or anything else really, apart from molars being removed many years ago. So I'm happy enough with that. But at the dentist, they were quite lurgy intensive this time last year when we went for our last one. But I'm delighted to say that has pretty much all gone at our dentist. There was no face muzzles whatsoever in there. None of the staff were wearing them. Even the dentist wasn't wearing one, believe it or not. None of the patients were wearing them. None of the backroom staff, who I saw a couple of, were wearing them. And there was no silly stickers on the floor or on the doors for anything lurgy related. But the only sign of anything was they've still got the perspex screens on the reception desks, but apart from that, there wasn't a sign of it. They did send through a few days ago, one of those silly health questionnaires. I suppose, didn't look at it, but I suppose they sort of say, well, you know, have you got symptoms of the lurgy? Have you had any symptoms of the lurgy in the last 7 days or whatever it is? But I just totally ignored it. I think Lorraine totally ignored it, and we weren't asked anything. They didn't say anything about that when we went in. So that's a good bit of news. So a place that was previously quite intense about the whole thing seemed very relaxed now. I recall a little conversation at the meetup we had in the Midlands on Saturday, and Lorraine and I were talking to a couple of ladies, and they were both saying that if the powers that shouldn't be decide to ramp up all of the nonsense again, you know, face nappies are back, and social distancing and work from home orders and all of that are back. Both of them were saying, I really think the vast majority of people would go along with it. And I kind of agreed with them. I suppose I'm 50-50 on that. Yes, it could well, if they do try it on, that could well be the case. After all, last November, when the scariant that starts with O reared its ugly head, despite having, I think it's about 4 months of no silliness at all, they brought the silliness back, and it was just disappointing to see how many people muzzled up again in the shops and everywhere else. So I certainly don't blame them for thinking like that. But this time round, more time has gone by. It's been more like 9 or 10 months, well, I suppose about 9 months since the restrictions were lifted here in England. So it's a lot more time, a lot more water under the bridge. So I think that if they do try and get silly again, there may well be a lot more anger and a lot more resentment around and about, which hopefully would make the government beat a hasty retreat. But apart from going into autumn, further into autumn and winter, apart from maybe the odd murmuring and muttering here and there from the powers that shouldn't be, just to, you know, keep the whole nonsense a little bit alive, but I don't think we will go back to that. I honestly think that the powers that shouldn't be have moved on. They've milked the whole lurgy thing as much as they can as much as they think they can, as much as they wanted to, whatever. And they now know that the population can be made to comply as long as they just, put on a bit of psychology and a bit of coercion and a bit of carrot dangling. So I think they'll move on to central bank digital currencies, the continued erosion of cash. They might use the whole energy crisis thing, vastly increasing bills, to start bringing in some kind of UBI, universal basic income. They've already announced they'll be giving everybody £400 towards our winter fuel bills, and I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of extended that, started giving you that £400 every month rather than as a one-off payment. And it would be without strings to start with, but then they may well end up in months or years to come bringing in some kind of social credit, mild to begin with, social credit system where these universal basic income payments would be linked to it. And like I say, it probably wouldn't be that apparent to start with, but over the course of many months, I should imagine, or even years, they'll start ramping it up. So you'll get to the stage where, oh dear, look, you haven't had your 99th rooster booster. So we're going to have to, this £400 a month we're giving you, we're going to have to dock a bit of that. We're going to have to take £50 off, I'm afraid. And oh dear, look, Tim, you've put that dodgy video on YouTube criticising the government. Oh dear, we don't like that. We're going to have to take another £50 off you. And because they know the vast majority of the population are very compliant and can be made to comply, they can bring in measures to allay any concerns about cash being taken away, any concerns that there might be in the general population about the introduction of social credit systems and the coercion associated with them. And they probably think they can get away with that now because of what they've been able to get away up to now. So it's up to the likes of us to remain vigilant. I've got no idea, obviously, what they're planning for this autumn and winter. But whatever it is, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on whatever shenanigans might arise. And I'm sure you guys will be as well. And we're going to be ready to react, to speak out, and hopefully kick into touch any future nonsense. But that's my thoughts. Kind of, I don't know how I've wandered into those thoughts from telling you I've been to the dentist this morning, but that's the way I sort of roll sometimes, I guess. But I've rambled on enough tonight, and I'll leave it there. Be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.